Hey, algebra students, this is Mr. High again. We're going to talk about how to solve equations by completing the square. We've already talked about the method of completing the square where you take half of b, you square it, that gives you the c value. To solve an equation, first of all, it has to be in this form. It has to be x squared plus bx equals some number d. After you complete the square and you figure out what c is, you're going to add c to both sides of the equation, because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. This is going to transform one side of the equation into a perfect square trinomial, which you can then factor into a binomial squared. From there, we use the square roots method where we take the square root of both sides like we did in section 10.4 in order to solve it. So here's our first example. X squared plus 14x equals negative 3. First thing we have to do is we have to figure out c, which we said is b divided by 2 squared. b is 14. So 14 over 2 squared. 14 divided by 2 is 7, so 7 squared is 49. So our c value is 49. This is what we need to add to the left side and to the right side. So I'm going to rewrite this as x squared plus 14x plus 49 equals negative 13 plus 49. I have to add that c value to both sides. And now on the left side, this is a perfect square trinomial. If I were to do box method with this, I would get x plus 7 squared. And that equals 36 when I combine these. So now I use my square roots method because I have a binomial squared. So now I take the square root of each side. That leaves x plus 7 on the left, and on the right I get plus or minus 6. So now I need to subtract 7 on each side. So x is going to equal negative 7 plus or minus 6. When the 6 is positive, x is going to equal negative 1. When the 6 is negative, x is going to equal negative 13. There's my two solutions. Let's do another one. X squared plus 12x equals negative 3. Again, I start by finding my c value. b divided by 2 squared. b is 12, so I'm doing 12 divided by 2 squared. 12 divided by 2 is 6, so 6 squared. My c value is going to be 36. So I'm going to add c to each side. Plus 36 equals negative 3 plus 36. This is now a perfect square trinomial. It factors into x plus 6 squared. On the right side, when I combine these, I get 33. Now I would take the square root of both sides, x plus 6. The square root of 33 is plus or minus 5.74. Now I subtract 6. So x equals negative 6 plus or minus 5.74. So I'm going to set up my two equations here. First, when 5.74 is positive, that's going to give me x equals negative 0.26. Then, when the 5.74 is negative, that is going to give me x equals negative 11.74. And there are my solutions, or my roots, or my zeros of this equation. One more. In this one, notice that the x squared term has a coefficient. We need to get rid of that coefficient first. So we have to divide everything by 3. That means this equation becomes x squared plus 6x minus 3 equals 0. And now we have to get rid of this constant term by adding 3 because we want it in the form x squared plus bx equals some number. So x squared plus 6x equals 3 is the one we're going to use to find c. Half of b squared. b is 6, so 6 divided by 2 squared. That's 3. So c is going to be 9. I have to add 9 to both sides of this. X squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 3 plus 9. This is a perfect square trinomial. It is x plus 3 squared. Over here we have 12. Now we take the square root of both sides. That leaves x plus 3. The square root of 12 is plus or minus 3.46. So now I'm going to subtract 3. X is going to equal negative 3 plus or minus 3.46. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to treat that 3.46 as positive first. In this case, x is going to equal 0.46. Now I'm going to treat it as a negative, negative 3 minus 3.46, and I get negative 6.46, and that is how you use completing the square to solve quadratic equations. Hope this helps. Have a great day.